Welcome to Unconditional Love, the House of Unconditional Love. I am your Minister of Unconditional Love, Cynthia, and we're going on a journey today. And it was a last-minute journey, although I've been preparing for this my whole life. So let's start with the goal. Coming together to share this space. This time. This moment. Okay. So, a few technical details as usual. Welcome to today's Lunar Eclipse teaching. I had written some poetry, some teachings through poetry to share with you. And this morning, as I was walking in the sunlight, the first light and the first morning star, I realized and remembered an aspect of myself. I'm going to share with you, because some of you may resonate with this aspect of yourself. So there's a story called The Lost Princess. Does anyone know the story of the Lost Princess? The Lost Princess. Well, it's an ancient story. By Rebbe Nachman, I believe, of Breslov. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this lost princess, this story that's relevant right now in this moment, this time of lunar eclipse. And as we go through, you will most likely, because I'm going to unpack it for you, see why I'm sharing this at this time. Now, it is a deep mystical teaching, and I'm just going to share it as if you were, I was reading you a bedtime story, and then we're going to unpack it a little bit. And after the story, or the sharing, the teaching, it's very short, and I'm going to go into unpacking it a little bit, and followed, as usual, by an embodied practice where I can take you deeper to experience directly. That's what a mystic does, helps you experience directly. Right. So bear with me if you're not resonating with the storyteller. We will be moving through to a practical experience. So let me just see if I can get the chat. Okay. All right, so the Lost Princess, a teaching for today's lunar eclipse. Did you know that it's a lunar eclipse? The 21st of September. September is my birthing month. I was born at the beginning of this, on the 7th, which is Father's Day in Australia. It's also this time where we are remembering and preparing for the head, the crown. Right, you'll know more in a moment. So let's go into this story. Are we ready? Are we ready? Let me know. Are you ready? Are you ready for a story? Story, and then a mystical understanding of the story, and then how it relates to you and humanity at this time. Okay? As an experience before we close. So let's get into the story. There was a king. There was a king, and he had 7 children. These numbers are relevant. 7 children, 6 sons, and 1 precious daughter. 1 precious daughter. Okay. 6 sons, 1 daughter. I'll give you a hint. Think of the tree. She was his 7th child, his only feminine offspring. And he loved her dearly, like a father can only love a daughter. He would frolic and play with her and rejoice and delight in her splendor, in her life. But one day, in a moment of anger, words slipped from the king's mouth. And those words were quite profound. He said, "May the evil one take you away. May the evil one take you away." Just think about that. How many of you have said something in anger to someone you love? Mm-hmm. Well, the next morning, the princess had vanished. The king was devastated. Can you imagine saying something out of anger and then seeing the repercussions of that, right? He was devastated. His right-hand man, I'm going to call him the king's man in this, but it's his most loyal servant, said, "Give me a horse, a servant, and money, and let me search for her." So he traveled through the deserts, the fields, the valleys, the whole world, searching for years, year upon year, with no success. What would you do to find your beloved? Finally, he saw a path leading from the desert. So he followed it. He followed it and he arrived at a palace. It was the kingdom of evil itself. Surprisingly, he walked right through the guards and into the palace. And after searching, running room by room by room, he eventually found the king of evil sitting with his crown. Suddenly, there was a great ceremony. It was a ceremony because the queen was being welcomed in. And guess who the queen was? Guess who it was? Yes, the queen was the lost princess. He said, "Do you recognize me?" He asked, "Do you recognize me?" "Yes, yes," she replied. And she whispered, "Please get me out of here." "How? How?" he asked. And she replied, "Find yourself a place. Spend a year there longing for me, yearning for me. And on the last day, don't eat or sleep, and then you will free me." So he did this. He did this. But on that final day, he was starving. He was hungry. And he saw an apple tree. So he ate from the apple tree. Oh, familiar? He ate from the apple tree. And he fell asleep. Not for a day, not for a year. He fell asleep for many, many years. When he woke, the princess said to him, "Try again. This time, you can eat, but don't drink wine. It's critical you don't fall asleep. You don't sleep. It is critical you don't sleep. So try again." The year passed successfully. Right? He had to do this for a year. Right? And he did. The year passed successfully. But on his way to free her, he passed a sparkling brook. And that sparkling brook smelled like wine. It was red and smelled like wine. So, of course, he tasted it. And what do you think happened? He fell asleep. And he fell asleep for years. Oh my goodness. So the princess, still in the center of the evil, being patient, waiting for her time. But in that time, she was being relocated to a new place. So the princess was being relocated to a new place. And as she was being relocated, she passed by the sleeping man, king's man. Unable to wake him, she took her handkerchief or kerchief. And with her tears, she wrote a message. And the message said, "Find me. Find me. I am no longer in the palace. Now I am on a golden mountain in a pearl castle." So now she's on a golden mountain. Think of Mount Everest as gold. And on that mountain was a pearl castle. Right. So years later, he awoke and he found the message. He found the message on his handkerchief, written in tears of the princess. How could he find the golden mountain with a pearl castle? He went to the best geologist who said, there's no such place. It doesn't exist. So he walked the desert. And walking the desert, he met a giant. And he said, can I ask these beasts, all the animals, if they have seen the princess or they know of this golden mountain with a pearl castle? And the giant said, they won't know. He said, let me ask. So he asked. And the beasts said, no, we know nothing. But the giant had a brother. And the giant's brother commanded all the birds. And the birds were asked, do you know of this golden mountain, this mountain made of gold, the pearl castle? They too knew nothing. And finally, the third brother commanded all the winds. Just as hope seemed lost, the final wind rushed in, panting. Not sure how wind pants, but the wind rushed in, panting. I'm sorry I'm late. I guess. I'm sorry I'm late. But I was just busy taking a princess to a pearl castle on a golden mountain. The king's man rode the wind to this place of holiness. So he rode the wind that took the princess to this place of holiness. And getting to this place required not money, for in a world where dirt is gold, what value does money have? What value does gold have? Right? He needed good deeds, good actions to get past the guards. Deeds and actions, doings and actions. And inside, he found a wealthy man. What is this wealth? One rich in spirit of merit. And together they used their intelligence, their intellect to devise a plan to free the princess. Now, the story ends with the promise that she will be freed, right? She will be returned to the king. It's actually quite a sad story, but there's a deep teaching. So if we look at, so let's start breaking it down for you. I'm just going to check the chat. See how you're going. He found a wealthy man. Okay. What sort of wealth? Spiritual merit. So who is this princess? Who is the princess? Who would the princess represent? There's multiple answers for this. So for sake of time, let's have a look at it. So the lost princess represents multiple layers of divine feminine. Multiple layers of the divine feminine. the feminine aspects within each of us, both men and women, whatever you identify as, right? Let's move to the moon, right? So we're going to jump around a little bit. It all connects. It's all mystical teachings. It's interesting. There's an echo in here. It's like I can hear. It's almost like I can hear. Well, I can hear the gong behind me as I'm speaking. It's resonating. Okay. So there's another story of the moon's complaint, right? And they're very similar. And they're based on the same mystical understanding. So the deeper story behind two great luminaries, the sun and the moon, being equal. And then there's the story of the moon questioning, how can there be two kings to share one crown, right? So this is a slightly different story, but it's a similar thing. So let me bring it together for you. Just bear with me. The moon is questioning, how can two kings share one crown? And God, beloved Hashem, agreed. She was right, but said, go and diminish yourself. Right? So the princess was diminished, in want of a better word. So bear with me. And the moon was diminished. It wasn't punishment. It wasn't punishment as such, right? At this other level of understanding. This was the beginning of a cosmic journey. Right? The princess story is a journey of spiritual awakening or conscious evolution. Right? So this cosmic journey or this conscious evolution, awakening, remembrance is what I like to say. When the moon absorbs all the light of the sun, there is no darkness. There's no light, no night, and no exile. The moon's diminishment created the very possibility for darkness. Right? The very possibility for darkness and spiritual growth through challenge, contraction, constriction. So we could say the possibility for this earthly experience of pain, challenge, suffering. The lunar eclipse aspect of this. So tonight's lunar eclipse, September 21st, occurs during a specific time where we call it different names, but there's a covering over, right? And so I'm just giving you little seeds. You can let me know if you want to go deeper another week. We're covering over with the number 36, and this refers to the 36 hours of original light that shone before first darkness fell upon the world. Right? The first night. So that light is now hidden but not lost. It's hidden but not lost. It's the hidden light of the moon that is starting to be revealed. Feeling me? Well, it's not me. These are the teachings, okay? So the light is now hidden, not lost. Okay. It's starting to be revealed. So there are stages of the moon's return, and some of you may have done those teachings with me, but for today, suffice to say, the Ari or the Arizal teaches about this, the moon representing the feminine or the divine presence, right? And I've shared with you many times about these stages, these 7 stages of development. And we reached the 6th level. So remember the princess story, 6 brothers, 1 daughter, the 7. Okay, so here we are again, 7 stages. We reached the 6th level during the time. And let's bring some biblical understanding, since it is a Sunday service. King Solomon, the 15th generation of Judah. When the moon reaches fullness on the 15th day, then came the decline into exile, so to speak. But the moon renews itself. The moon renews itself, and that's the symbol, the waning to the wax again, right? This cycle. Our role as women, those women watching today, right? Or may watch the replay. The teachings reveal that faith comes from the same root as the feminine. That faith comes from the same root as the feminine. How are you going? How are we doing? Let me just check what's going on here. Checking the chat. There's nothing there yet. Okay. So, our role as women. And this also is the role of the feminine within every human. So it's multi-layered. That's why it's a mystical teaching, right? We can, read about it on its very basic level. But where we get the power, or our power, is from going deeper into all the aspects of what's actually being shared. So the teachings reveal that faith comes from the root, the same root as the feminine. Right? Women are called Luna, the moon, Amuna, right? Because we can hold knowing even when it's dark outside, and shine into the night. Okay. So I think I'll skip some of this more biblical stuff, but know that it is in, the Old Testament. It's in different ways of knowing all these stories of the masculine and the feminine, the divine, cosmic dances, right? You may have heard that, in the merit of righteous women, we will be redeemed in the future. I think the Dalai Lama says this too, but this is ancient prophecy. Well, it isn't vague prophecy, it's practical instruction, right? But if you don't understand it, then it'll just wash over you and you'll feel diminished. So we ourselves are princesses, whether you're a man or a woman, right? The bride of Christ, the princess to the king. However you want to look at that, the micro to the macro. We resonate with all of the feminine aspects that are precious to the Holy One, holy, We'll just say the Holy One, whatever you want to call that. So reclaiming our light. Let me put this fan on, it's warm. Reclaiming our light to help free the princess, both cosmically and within ourselves. There are a few things we could do. I'm going to give you some suggestions. They're just suggestions. We can reclaim our beauty, dignity, and royalty. So you're aware the lowest, we'll get to that in a moment. I was going to say the lowest part of the tree of life, Malchut, sovereignty, royal crown, right? So not through ego or comparison, but through recognizing our unique spiritual gifts. Do you know yourself? Do you know your gifts? Right? Own and name our gifts. How can you do that if you don't know that? If we don't claim our power, our creativity, our spirituality, we risk channeling these forces elsewhere. You lose your light, you lose your power, you lose your essence. When we become bridges between the sun and the moon consciousness, integrating our capacity for both action, which is solar, and being, lunar, giving and receiving. We can use conscious speech. And as I said before, the Malchut, or the sovereignty, is expressed through the mouth. So that lowest part of the tree is seen as the mouth. Right? What's dropped, what seems lowest. We help restore the crown through words that heal rather than harm. So our words, our speech, okay. So we're getting to the crown restored, but because we've been warmed by the light that's approaching, like standing on the platform waiting for a fast train, we've got to align ourselves with what's coming rather than being pulled by what we've been. Align with what's coming rather than be pulled by where we've been. Okay? The previous generation saw the rise of secular feminism, right? That preceded the fruit, the husk that preceded the fruit, right? The husk is what's around the seed, right? Our generation's task is to embrace the fruit. Authentic, feminine, spiritual power. The crown restored. I should have brought my crown down. The crown restored, right? So let's get back to the moon and the sun. So there is a story. Maybe I'll tell you that next session, or we'll see, because I haven't told you the whole story. I'm just telling you parts of it, right, to give you an idea. But the moon's original complaint to God was, how can two kings share one crown? And that original complaint will be resolved in the 7th level. Remember I said there were seven levels or seven stages, right? And we could look at Isaiah, I think it's 30:26, that promises the light of the moon will be like the light of the sun. They will share one crown. They will share one crown. The light of the moon will be like the light of the sun. They will share one crown. And I mean, I'll quote it, but it's much misinterpreted, right? Proverbs 12:4 states, a woman of valor is a crown to her husband. What does that really mean? Right? The princess will regain her crown, and this parallels the revelation of the divine sovereignty and the return of the divine feminine, or the Shekinah, or the mother, whatever you call that feminine, divine feminine essence, right? And for today's eclipse, as we witness tonight's lunar eclipse, we stand at a threshold moment. The Earth's positioning itself between the sun and the moon. Humanity becomes the bridge between masculine and feminine divine energies. What does that mean, Cynthia? There's so much to this, but I don't want to, there's levels of unveiling, I guess. But this eclipse in the month of hidden light, this month, and so it depends, lunar calendar, solar calendar, right? So at this time, let us say, so it's not necessarily dependent on the calendar then, because there are different calendars. But at this time, in the month of hidden light, calls us to recognize the royal princess within ourselves. Right? So given you enough to be able to recognize the royal princess within ourselves. Stop playing small or apologizing for our spiritual gifts. And I'm going to take you through a process shortly. If you don't know what's going on for you, we can go through it and embody what is it for you? What is it for you? Right? Channel our feminine power, right? Through. Prepare to catch the approaching train of what's coming. Remembrance, redemption, the return, right? Whatever you want to call that, depending on your beliefs and traditions and whatnot. So it calls us to help the moon glow by clearing whatever blocks our natural radiance. What blocks your natural radiance? Right? Are you aware that you have the magnification at this time and tonight, today, wherever you are in the world? The lost princess is no longer lost. She's returned. Not diminished, but transformed. She's carrying the wisdom of her exile. She's carrying the wisdom from where she's been, that journey, and the return home. Tonight, we participate in crowning both the king and the queen within ourselves. We can joining the greatest love story ever told. So we've gone from a pretty light, well, we've gone from a kidnapping and, right? The princess was stolen, taken. And now we're celebrating the return and the joining of the greatest love story ever told, the story of heaven and earth learning to dance as one. Say it again. Heaven and earth learning to dance as one. How beautiful. So we're going to round this up and move on to about a 10-minute practice. So if you'd like to get a drink, have a little stretch. For those of you that need to go, may this eclipse illuminate the path home for all lost princesses. Again, all humans have this part of themselves. So especially the one within your own heart. May the eclipse illuminate the path home to yourself. Okay. So let's just end the story here. We're going to go into 10, 15 minutes. See if we can do it in 10 minutes. What does all of that mean to you? Was it, multiple stories and quotes and parts of ancient texts and whatnot, all squashed into one? What does it mean to you, if anything? Well, let's find out. I invite you to find out. Go on a mystical journey, right? The Lost Princess returns, an integration meditation. So we're opening. We're going to settle into sacred space just for a moment. So do that. Finding your way into a comfortable seated position. Close your eyes or soften your gaze downwards. And let's just take some breaths together to just transition into this other space. Transition into this other space. It's not a space of story now. It's a space of experiencing. Experiencing. Right, so now we're going into our integration, meditation, experience. Okay, so taking these conscious breaths, inhaling the light of this sacred day, and exhaling any tension or distraction. And do that for a few more breaths. All right. So we gather in this moment of cosmic alignment as the earth positions herself between the sun and the moon. We too become bridges between the seen and the unseen. The seen and the unseen, the manifest and the hidden. So just feel yourself settling into this sacred space, knowing that you're about to journey inwardly to meet the lost princess within your own heart. The lost princess within your own heart. Okay. Bringing your awareness to your breath. And with each inhalation, imagine you are breathing in the original light, the light that shone for 36 hours before the first darkness fell upon the world. So breathe in and imagine you're breathing in the original light, primordial light. This is the hidden light, covered over but never extinguished. It lives within you now. So feel this light filling you. Filling your entire being, your head, your heart, your hand, your womb space, or your navel, down through your legs and feet. You are luminous. You are made of this primordial light. You are made of this primordial light. And now gently recall a time when you felt most connected to your own inner radiance. A time you felt most connected to your own inner radiance. Perhaps it was a moment of prayer, of creativity, maybe of deep knowing. When you were nurturing another, just hold this memory tenderly. Just hold this memory tenderly. This is your solar consciousness, your capacity to generate light, to illuminate, to create. Breathe into this remembering. You are the sun in your own solar system, so to speak. Your solar consciousness. And now, with great compassion, bring your awareness to the places where your light has been dimmed, or it feels dim. Like, just feel into that. No right or wrong. Just like the moon who was asked to diminish herself. Perhaps you too have been told to make yourself smaller, to shine less brightly, or to take up less space. So with great compassion, bring awareness to the places where it feels your light has been dimmed. And breathe into these places of diminishment. Being compassionate and with kindness. Feel them not as punishment, but as a part of your sacred journey, your life here. Moon's diminishment created the very possibility for night, for rest, for the gentle cycles of waxing and waning that mirror the rhythms of life itself. So your own times of hiding or waiting or seeming smallness, these two have been part of your journey towards complete wholeness, remembering. So now I invite you to place your hand on your heart or your chest and whisper internally, whisper to the self, even in my diminishment, I have been held. Whisper, even in my diminishment, I have been held. And whisper, even in the darkness, I have been learning to glow. I'll say it again. Even in the darkness, I have been learning to glow. So say that, state that to yourself. Even in my diminishment, even in your diminishment, you have been held. Even in the darkness, you have been learning to glow. Acknowledge that in yourself. Feel the wisdom you have gained in your seasons of hiddenness. What wisdom you have received, gained. This is your lunar consciousness, your capacity to receive, to reflect, to cycle, to be present rather than perform. So just breathe into that. And we'll move to the next phase, the next part of our journey through what we might say is the exile, like the lost princess in the kingdom of evil. You too have perhaps found yourself in places that did not honor your true nature. If you have, breathe into this with courage. So breathe into any place where you found yourself not honored for your true nature. Feel. Breathe into it with courage, with your vulnerability is your courage. So breathe into that space one more time. That space that has not been honored. And visualize yourself as both the princess and the king. Both the one who is lost and the one who searches. The one that's lost and the one that searches. Feel the part of you that has never stopped seeking your way home to your own light. What is that like for you? There's no right or wrong. You're just being curious, allowing the space and the time to acknowledge these parts. Feel the part of you that has never stopped seeking and the part of you seeking your way home to your light. What are the apple trees in your life? What are the apple trees in your life? What are the places where you have fallen asleep to your true purpose? These are the apple trees. Where have you fallen asleep to your purpose? Contemplate this. Okay. What are the brooks that smell like wine? The distractions that have lulled you into spiritual slumber? So what are the places where you've fallen asleep and the distractions that have lured or lulled you into slumber? Just breathe compassion into these human moments of forgetting. Even the king's men, or the king's man, fell asleep twice before learning how to stay awake. Your journey towards awakeness is not, or consciousness is not linear. Now, feel the kerchief of tears, or the handkerchief of tears, the message written in sorrow that have actually been love letters from your soul, guiding you towards the golden mountain and the pearl castle of your highest self. To feel the fabric of tears, the fabric, the kerchief of message written in sorrow, that you've actually been sending love letters from your soul, guiding you towards the golden mountain and the pearl castle of your highest self. How do you experience that? Bringing your awareness now to the breath of wind, like the final wind in the story, who knew exactly where the princess was hidden. Your breath knows the way to your own golden mountain. With each inhalation, feel yourself being carried on the wind of your own inner knowing. Your inner knowing towards the pearl castle of your soul's true home. Breathe that. Be the wind. And with each inhalation, feel yourself being carried on the wind of your own inner knowing towards the pearl castle of your soul's true home. Feel that on each inhalation. As you breathe, feel yourself being carried on the wind of your own inner knowing towards your soul's true home. Now visualize yourself approaching the magnificent palace made of the most luminous pearls. And that castle is sitting atop of a golden mountain, a mountain made of gold. This is the place where your authentic self, or your Satnam, true identity, true self, awaits, not diminished, but transformed by the journey. Transformed by the journey. And as you approach this castle, notice that the guards are not obstacles, but opportunities. Opportunities to offer your spiritual gifts. Your capacity for love and your capacity for service. These are the currency that grant you entrance to your own sacred center. Feel yourself welcomed into this palace of your own wholeness. So let's just take a moment for those of you who don't know what your gifts are. Your capacity for love and service are the gifts. You get to offer your spiritual gifts of love and service. And as you remember and experience the remembrance of your spiritual gifts, feel yourself welcomed into the palace of your wholeness. So as you go into and are welcomed in, we go to reunion and integration. So you're in the inner chambers of the Pearl Castle and you meet her, the lost princess. Lost princess of your soul. She's been waiting for you. She's been waiting for you. She has been waiting for you. So look into her eyes. Look into her eyes. Look into her eyes. And see your own divine feminine nature. Look into her eyes and see your own feminine nature, wise from her journey, radiant with hidden light, and ready now to reclaim her crown. So feel the reunion happening within you. It's the return, it's the reunion, the solar and the lunar aspects of yourself embracing. Feel it. The doing and the being coming into harmony, the masculine and feminine energies dancing as one. Feel it. Experience it. Know it. And she whispers to you the words you most need to hear about your gifts, your purpose, your inherent royalty. Listen deeply, listen deeply, listen deeply. Now, see yourself and the princess merging into one luminous being. Merging. See yourself merging into one luminous being. You're no longer split between the seeker and the sought, the lost and the found. You are both. You are whole. What does that feel like? What could that feel like if you're not quite there? What could that feel like? Right? Feel a crown of light settling upon your head. A crown of light settling upon your head. Not a crown of ego, but a crown of service. Crown of service. You are sovereign in your own life. You're royal in your capacity to channel divine light through your unique feminine gifts. Breathe. Remember. Experience. So we're coming to the close. Carrying the light forward. I'm just going to take some conscious deep breaths, feeling this wholeness settling into every cell of your being. Into every cell of your being. And as you prepare to open your eyes and return to ordinary conscious, make this commitment. Make this commitment. Or I invite you, if you choose, I will carry the light of the lost princess into my daily life. I will carry the light of the lost princess, Shekinah, Divine Feminine, into my daily life. I will no longer hide my spiritual gifts. I will no longer hide my spiritual gifts. I will help the moon glow by shining my own radiance. The wind just picked up. Shh. Breathe, Earth, breathe. Yes, she's saying yes. Call and response. So I'm going to say this commitment one more time if you choose to say it with me. I will carry the light of the lost princess into my daily life. Meaning I will carry the light of the feminine, divine feminine, into my daily life. I will no longer hide my spiritual gifts of love and service. And I will help the moon glow by shining my own authentic radiance. I will help the moon shine by reflecting. And when you're ready, you can gently breathe yourself, your eyes open. Breathe yourself back to this reality. Move your body however it feels like it wants to move, and return to this room. And by you returning, carrying with you the knowing that the lost princess has been found. The lost princess has been found. The lost princess has been found. And she lives as you. She lives as me. She lives as us. So this brings us to our completion. And you can take a moment to journal any insights or commitments that arose during this practice. As a reminder, when you go into amnesia and the princess feels lost, So as we go into the evening, remember that you're the bridge between heaven and earth. And the earth is the bridge between the moon and the sun. And all that I spoke of today is within us. The stories and ways of remembering aspects of the self back together. And so if you're interested in what I spoke about, you can message me and let me know what parts that you might want more information on or want to delve deeper into. You can join me on Tuesdays at Mystic Cynthia Facebook. And there's a donate button if you'd like to share and support the work we do at the House of Unconditional Love. And I'll leave it at that. Until then, may the blessings be. Much love.
Hey.